And, there aren't many other options out there. Nobody else is going to pay $25 million for a backup at this point. Depth charts are set. We think we should pay you 10. And we think you should take 10. And if you don't take 10, then we got to do what's best for the team, and we got to release you. Then he's screwed if it comes to that. He's got nothing if it comes to that. He's a man without a country and a man without a salary if it comes to that. That's why it's more imperative for Garoppolo to be the one rattling cages to get out of San Francisco then Mayfield's got his money guaranteed. Garoppolo's got the potential. There's a way that needle gets threaded, that he gets screwed. And I think that's why, Peter, we've seen, like, he's been doing media recently. It's kind of like, boy, this is kind of weird. That, like, all of a sudden Jimmy Garoppolo's doing this show and this show and that show, and he's offering up sound bites like it was strange last year. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I think in his own way, he's trying to jostle for a release differently than Mayfield. He's wired differently. But he's at risk of something Mayfield isn't, which is the possibility of getting squeezed to take less than half of his salary, or maybe even less than $10 million. Who knows what they'll propose to him when he has no other options. That's the risk he's taking if he just says, I'm fine with my current situation.
I just will say this. I don't think that is who Jimmy Garoppolo is. And again, I realize that is a little bit of a fairy tale thing to say. I do, and I understand. And I understand that's not the business world. But I cannot see Jimmy Garoppolo starting to be, what's the right word? I cannot see Jimmy Garoppolo starting to be real calculating like that. I just can't see it. And
well, hang on.
One of the
I'll let you finish, but I got a point. I got
ahead.
2 points. Go ahead.
No, you go. I want to hear them.
Well, okay, and I'm not accusing you of spreading 49ers talking points. I just think they've been so good at getting others to spread the talking points. They've gotten baked into the narrative, frankly, that this is a 49ers talking point. This is not reality. Because, Peter, he went and got the surgery. You say he's not calculating? He didn't tell the 49ers he was going to get shoulder surgery. That was an FU to the 49ers, a very subtle, low key. I think the difference is Baker Mayfield is going to flash his middle fingers right here. Jimmy Garoppolo is more likely to flash it at you under the table. So I think that the idea that Jimmy's a great guy, Jimmy wouldn't do that, Jimmy's sweet on you, I think that's all 49er propaganda that has made its way through reporters and other talking heads who are on the payroll, directly or indirectly, and they become part of the narrative that we all accept. I don't buy it.
This is to me, it's not Jimmy propaganda. It is my knowledge of how Jimmy Garoppolo operates. And look, it's possible that he is putting on a great act and does a great show and everything. I find Jimmy Garoppolo to be, and again, this is a bad thing to say. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield is dishonorable and that Jimmy Garoppolo's honorable. And maybe this doesn't have to do with honor or dishonor. But it doesn't strike me as Jimmy Garoppolo that he is going to start to put things out there that would really kind of put the team in a bad light. I just don't see him doing that. This, and Mike, you and whoever can think whatever they want. This is not me listening to Jed York or John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan or anything like that. This is my personal experience in 4 or 5 long conversations over the years with Jimmy Garoppolo. I just don't see him as a guy who is going to be as calculating as that. And again, I could be wrong. You could be right. We'll see. But I just don't see it happening.
Well, what I would say then, if this is true, if your assessment is accurate, and I have no reason to doubt it because I've never spoken to him in my life. I would say to my countrymen, my paisano, if I may, I would say it's time to wake up, it's time to grow up, and it's time to realize the business that you've chosen. This is, Jimmy, the business you've chosen. And they, meaning the 49ers and every other team in the league, is cold, is calculating, will cut your heart out with a smile on your face if it suits the best interests of the team. That's what they do. They always take care of their best interests. You need to take care
but isn't
of your
their
best
best
interest.
interest
You
right
need
now,
to have a plan.
Isn't their best interest right now to maintain a good relationship with Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yes.
Knowing
until they cut him right before week one.
Might have to play. No, not cutting him. Not cutting him. I'm saying he might have to, they were a Final Four team with Jimmy Garoppolo. His teammates love Jimmy Garoppolo. No matter even whether he's a middle-of-the-road quarterback, whatever it is, he might have to play for them this year.
I agree. But, Peter, here's the point. 49ers want to have maximum flexibility so they can make the decisions that are in the best interest of the team at every given point in the offseason, training camp, preseason. Hey, we show up for training camp. Jimmy's healthy. Jimmy's throwing the ball. Jimmy's running the offense. Trey, what's up with Trey? Maybe we shouldn't have drafted Trey. Trey, it's time. Trey, it's time for your close-up. It's time to get ready to play. They need to have that protection. I agree with you. But if Jimmy signs on for this, he is assuming the risk that Trey balls out, that Trey's the better player, that the future is now for the 49ers, and they make that decision. They make that decision in the best interest of the 49ers. We can't justify. This isn't a charity. Sorry, Jimmy, but we're not here to just give money out that isn't justified. Trey Lance has proven he's the starter. You're the backup. We can't pay you $25 million. So you either take 10 or we have to end this relationship. I'm sure you understand we're acting in our best interest. That's my point. That's my point to Jimmy Garoppolo. They are always going to make the decisions that are in their best interest. You have to make the decisions that are in your best interest. And I think that surgery is exhibit A, that he's thinking that way and acting that way. And it may not be his decision. This is the other side of it, too. You got Don Yee representing him. And somebody, I think, is giving him some advice that is aimed at piercing through his nature and getting him to protect himself against the cold, ruthless business decisions that will be made, regardless of whether or not he gets to play this year or gets his money this year or ends up looking around like John Travolta, that scene in Pulp Fiction that's a meme where he's like looking around. Like that could be Jimmy Garoppolo week one. I don't have a team. I don't have a job. I don't have a salary. I don't have squat.
I'm not saying that's impossible, and it may be because they're very snug up to the cap right now anyway. They're trying to salvage the Deebo Samuel relationship. They've got Bosa to worry about. They have some salary headaches. There's no question about that. I can't tell you what's going to happen prior to week one. I don't know the answer to that. But if I were Garoppolo and it came prior to week one and they had that conversation with me, I'd be very disappointed if I were him.
Well, and the bottom line is this. Every team in the NFL, and the 49ers are no different than the rest. If anything, I think they are more calculating and more strategizing than most. They have a plan. They're always going to do what's right for them. They're going to cut guys if it's in their best interest, trade guys if it's in their best interest, squat on guys for as long as they can if it's in their best interest, which they're doing with Garoppolo. And at the end of the day, they're going to do what's right for them, and they're not going to apologize for it. And Jimmy needs to realize he needs to have that same attitude about his career. He's made plenty of money, but he's got $25 million hanging in the balance. And you know what? At this point, Peter, his best play may be to love the one he's with. Maybe to show up and win the job.
I think that's right.
Because no one wants him now. No one wants him. No one's going to trade for him.
Yeah.
He's stuck in line behind Baker Mayfield. If nobody's trading for Baker Mayfield, sure as hell nobody's trading for Jimmy Garoppolo. His best play is to get cut and hope the Texans would bring him in and let him compete with Davis Mills, because I think he'd be better for them than Davis Mills. He'd get them to 9-8, I think. I think he's good enough to get you in contention. He's just not good enough to win a Super Bowl for you. The Texans aren't thinking about winning a Super Bowl. So I think the Texans are his best play if he'd get cut. But for now, his best play is get healthy. Again, this is the disconnect right now in the NFL. You've got teams that will let unhappy guys go, that will respect their wishes and tear up the contract. Then you got other teams that are going to cling to that contract, and that's what the 49ers are doing. The 49ers have this right, they have this power, and they're going to take full advantage of it. And Mayfield and Garoppolo, two fascinating examples, Peter, that are just going to, they're going to continue to provide us things to talk about and think about and just wonder what's going to happen as the season approaches. And maybe once we get into the season, maybe both guys are still going to be with their respective teams.
We just spent, hey, Mike, we just spent 64 minutes talking about two guys who might be number 2 quarterbacks, might be unemployed quarterbacks. Now, Garoppolo's not going to be unemployed, but that is the power of PFT right there.